Hello, I am Becca with clbeaudin. You are watching Rue's Musings. Today we're talking about why should you care about Ayurveda and why should you care about Dosha. Carly's going to give us a rundown in a second, but my entry point for this is that I don't know if you felt like this in your relationships, but you're faced with a stimulus. I'll say I'm faced with a stimulus, and that stimulus makes me feel primarily anxious and also sad. And my mom is faced with the same stimulus, and she is furious. And I'm like, why? Why would that make you furious? It only makes me sad. And the sadder I get, the more furious she gets. Because then she's furious at me about getting sad. And part of why Dosha and Ayurveda is so helpful is it allowed me to understand, okay, this is why I feel sad and anxious, and this is why my mom feels furious. So that's called me being more Vata and Kapha and her being more Pitta. And Carly's going to tell you about that right now.
So in the land of Ayurveda, we have this lens to look at everything. We look at everything through the same lens. We look at people through this lens. We look at animals through this lens. We look at food through this lens. We look at activities through this lens. And so the main tenet of Ayurveda is that we're all our own very unique constellation of the elements. So we've got ether, air, water, earth, and fire. And then we're all our own very unique makeup of these. And we are not all the same. And when I say that, that's nothing new. No, we're not all the same. But what does that really mean for how we interact and for how we should be interacting with our environment? And we can perceive that we're not all the same, and this is something we talk about in life. That girl, she's just big boned. Oh, she can eat a brick. She can eat anything, and she's not going to gain a pound. Oh, she handles stress so well. Oh, she's definitely going to freak out. We perceive that we're different, and we perceive that we handle things differently, but we don't quite have a frame for understanding how, why, and what does that mean for us? What does that mean for our relationships? What does that mean for my body? And so how we group these elements is we have three doshas. And so first we have Vata. Vata is air and ether. And so what Vata is in its entirety is movement, mobility, lightness, air, dryness. Vata people, this is me. Vata people, these are our dancers, these are our intuitives, these are our psychics, these are our creatives, these are our artists. In body, these are those tiny little fairy people. We can see all of their bones. They bounce around, they move really fast. They freak out, they have horrible anxiety, they worry.
Never good at planning.
Horrible at planning. Structure doesn't exist.
Forget everything.
That's just the way we are. And then we have Pitta. And Pitta is fire and a tiny bit of water. And so what that means for what Pitta is in its entirety is heat, is transformation, is growth, is discernment, is intellect, is productivity, is doing. Pitta people, these are our CEOs, these are our lawyers, these are our athletes, these are our main doers. These are the people that if you want something done, you talk to them about it and they're going to finish it.
I have a Pitta story actually. When I very first learned about Dosha, I went to my boss, Joseph Coleman, and explained to him, I was like, Joey, I understand you better now because I learned about this thing called Dosha. And like for me, since I'm mostly Vata or Vata imbalance, I'll feel sad. And since you're Pitta, you're going to feel angry. His response, no joke, I'm not going to actually say the F word, is he's like, I don't even understand why people get upset. And I was like, yes, for sure, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, and Pitta's oftentimes extreme sadness or anxiety just quite literally doesn't make sense to them. They don't even understand how they don't understand how we even get there. And then we have Kapha. You'll also hear Kapha. And this is earth and water, and this is stability, in its entirety. This is stability, this is structure, this is kindness, this is compassion, this is understanding.
The best friend.
The best friends you're ever gonna have are Kapha people. And so our Kapha people, these are our nurturers. These are the people you go to when you really need to be heard, when you really need to be understood, when you really need to be held. These are the people that they can handle tons of stress, tons of sadness without without huge response from them.
But they have trouble with movement.
They have trouble with getting things going. Kaphas would be happy to stay in bed and sleep all morning, or spend the entire afternoon on the couch. So all of the thing about these doshas is they all come with their gifts and they all come with their challenges.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of my tagline with Ayurveda is it's with these doshas, the beauty is the bitch. And so this is kind of where we start learning about our natures and how we're going to react to certain situations. And what this really gives us the opportunity is to see how we can create more balance for ourselves. So why this matters to me, why I first started caring about Ayurveda, is because anxiety and worry has been my main state of existence for my whole entire life. And you want to go do this fun thing, and I'm like, maybe, but this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, and it's probably going to be horrible if we do that. And so when I finally ran into Ayurveda, it started helping me to understand that something's not innately wrong with me, because that's my experience, but rather that's part of my nature. And then even more so, I do a lot to create that experience for myself, that I am actually in charge of having so much anxiety. I could see how if Vata anxiety is movement, mobility, ungroundedness, no structure, I could see how I'm always moving. I have no structure in my life. Ground is something that's very difficult for me to find. So all of a sudden, having super ungrounded mobile days would make sense why now here at the end of the day I'm having an anxiety attack. And so for me and for Becca, for most people that come into this, it starts freeing us from the huge questions of, why am I so messed up? What's wrong with me? It gives us a way to start understanding that. It gives us a frame to not only understand it, but also see how we can be in charge of it. And that's my biggest freedom with Ayurveda is not all of the changes that it helps me make, but rather just the understanding and acceptance of not only myself, but of everyone that I encounter. I now can see someone in a time of complete anger, and I'm not like, oh my gosh, what an asshole.
Why are they being such a jerk?
What's wrong with them? Yeah. And I can now say, wow, look at that fire burn. And if I know them well and I've known what they've done, I can maybe even understand why that fire is burning. So that's really, understanding and acceptance has been my biggest place of solace in this science.
So our next 3 videos will break down Vata, we'll break down Pitta, we'll break down Kapha. And I just want to end with this little realization, is that in our society, we value the physical aesthetic of Vata. We should all look that way, right?
Tiny little bodies.
Tiny little bodies. We want the productivity of Pitta, and we want the unfazedness of Kapha. So you need to be unfazed by anything. You need to get stuff done all the time and be successful, and you need to look really thin. We can't do that. That's not how any of us are made. And those are the refinement of all of the doshas. So we all have our work, and nobody is designed to be perfectly perfect the way that our society wants us to be. So we get to rest easy knowing that fantasy is off the table. If you want to find out who you are, what your constitution is, Carly can see you. You can set up an appointment with her, and we'll leave her information at the bottom of the video. And watch next week for more understanding about Vata, about Pitta, about Kapha. See you later.